We did it. We did it.
Welcome to the Iron Seas podcast. It is me, the ultimate kahuna, joined by Mr. John A. Douglas this week, Evele Music, and AC Pritchard. How the heck are y'all doing, guys?
Doing good. How you doing?
Oh, just loving technology and the rain.
yeah.
It's perfect, man. It's a great day.
I think everybody's in a real good spot mentally leading into this one. I think we're all bringing our A game. Nobody's tired. Nobody's stressed. Everything's great. Everything's
Justin,
great.
you know what would really help is if we watched another episode of Sister Leveling. I think that would really bring up the mood, make everybody happier.
I think he's right.
Why? Just why?
John, don't ask. You don't want to know. It's fine.
No, you don't. It's weird.
No, I don't want to know.
Turn the internet off, man.
The bridge
Rewind.
series gone wrong. Teaching Justin about the ways of the degenerate internet. Anyway, here we are.
Indeed.
So yeah, this week we decided to go with orc movies because John is an orc and he writes about orcs and he is writing a romantasy about orcs so far as I know. And we figured we'd go with the best orc film of all time, Bright, with Will Smith.
That was a lot of lies all at once, man.
I
don't
know,
which
man.
one
I had to
focus
pack.
on.
Just like pack it in there.
The best orc film of all time. That's
Yeah.
God. It doesn't
I
even
wanted
crack
to
my
watch-
top 10. I'll be honest.
I wanted to watch Warcraft, and they said no.
Wait, I thought it was your suggestion. Was my understanding that you're like, guys, we should watch Bright, and I was like, oh, well, should we? And then we considered. It. was like,
I said it as a joke. I'm like, guys, wouldn't it be funny
Oh,
if we watched Bright?
that tone was missing. We just saw the text, and we're like, oh, he's okay. All right, we'll roll with it. We'll see how it
They're
turns
lying.
out.
They're lying.
Warcraft will still be there next time. You know, whenever John is back on, we can watch Warcraft then or what have you.
I am due for a rewatch of that. And because unfortunately, that World of Warcraft movie, for as much as I love the orc stuff, the rest of the movie is so forgettable. That you kind of forget you actually watched it. But every time the orcs are on screen, I'm locked in. I'm like, this is so fantastic. And Kahuna, who is the voice of Gorvok in my book, he can attest that like the aesthetic is very much this, very much similar. There's a lot of very similar.
The savage, the savage beast, the large green. Yeah, it's all there.
Yeah, and it's done very well. The orc stuff in that book, but I mean they didn't. But that's a discussion for another day. Unless you want to just talk about the Warcraft movie.
I'd almost rather do that. Not like a Will Smith with the fairies. No, freaking. You remember that? Like he had a fairy in his bird feeder. He's like effing fairies, just like fairies' lives don't matter or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some rough dialogue in this for sure. We'll get into it.
Now, John, have you seen Bright? I'm curious.
I saw it way back when. Now, mind you, I have not had a Netflix account in ever since Cuties dropped on that platform, and I told them, "F you, I'm never giving you my money ever again." I kept that promise. Now, I've had a couple of free months provided by I forget little deals we get here and there. We do it about every other Christmas because there's one movie on Netflix that I do like, which is Klaus, and it is a modern Christmas classic. I love that movie.
That's a good movie.
It is not on DVD. One of Norm Macdonald's last vocal roles too.
Oh, really?
So yeah, he's a character in it. He's not the main character though. But
I love Norm.
Man, I watched it back in the day. Came out back in the time when Netflix was like, "Hey, we can be making studio style movies. We're big shots now." And here we are, 8 years later, and it's just all slop. They spend $300 million on slop after slop after slop.
Yeah,
but they really thought they were onto something with this one. And yeah, this was actually my pre-orc identity days. I did watch it and promptly forgot almost all of the film. I had to I didn't get a free month to rewatch it, guys, because one, I've been busy too.
Yeah.
Not giving them my money, but I did brush up on the plot on Wikipedia, so I'm fully prepared. I don't remember a damn thing that happened though. It's just I'll know what we're talking about.
I brought up it's not my only problem with the movie, but it's just the one thing I always think if I think about this movie, Bright, I think about this problem. they try to conflate orcs with black culture and being black. Black
Yeah.
people also exist, so that doesn't make any sense. And it's something I think about whenever I watch this film. Like, why do you do this? This doesn't make any sense.
I talked about this with my son on the way as I dropping him off at school, that the Alien Nation did this concept better.
What was that? Was that a TV show?
Oh, yeah, very long ago. Yeah, it was a TV movie, and I think they had a series based on it too. But it was the same thing: a cop and his alien partner. Only they were alien refugees instead of fantasy creatures. Don't get me wrong; I like the concept of what they were going for, especially in modern times. It's just the
Nice, like urban fantasy kind of thing too. It's
yeah,
neat.
the execution left a little bit to be desired, though. I did not. First of all, I did not like the orc designs in this. He really just looked like a burn victim with tattoos.
All of them did, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
No tusks. And that's been my rule of thumb for a while. No tusks, not orc.
Didn't they have tusks? This is just they were basically slightly bigger canines.
Like they were barely there. You guys know me. The Warcraft orcs are my standard for orcs. Someone said in the chat earlier, am I an Uruk-hai sympathizer? I don't consider Uruk-hai to be orcs. I really don't.
It's Tolkien, so like he kind of came up with a lot of these ideas, but a Tolkien orc is so drastically different from like a Warcraft orc, even if they're even if they are used similarly in certain kind of older time stories. But yeah, no, I like Bright was a cool idea. I would love a good urban fantasy show. Like if they we watched Constantine on the show a while back, and I was talking about that with AC. I don't know if you're familiar with Dresden Files, but Constantine the movie is as close to like a Dresden Files movie I think we're ever going to get. Like the world itself and the way magic was and interacted and the kind of tone. I'm like, this is as close to Dresden as I think we're going to get. And at least as far as film goes.
I didn't see any of the Dresden. I haven't read or seen any of the Dresden stuff.
Don't watch the TV show. It's terrible. I've read all 18 books.
Damn.
There's a lot. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of them. And it's like, when you have 18 books in a fantasy series, especially, it's like, they're not all rock stars, but a lot of them are really surprisingly good. It's maybe one of the funniest like long-term series I've ever read as well. So if you're into that, might check it out.
I know that the complaints that pop up every now and then about Jim Butcher is when some feminist reader gets ass mad over the fact that his character goes out of his way to notice, the pert breasts on the female character, as if men being attracted to women in my fantasy. Oh God!
I know, like all the pearl clutching and
clutching.
All that plural clutching. Really like more than one of those.
They get so mad that a male character will find a female character attractive and sexy, and then you go over to the book talk slop, which that's popping up again thanks to a meme account.
Yeah. I saw that. I think I even commented on that on Twitter earlier. Yeah, you had, what was your total view count on that, by the way? That was nutty, dude. 29
million views.
I thought it was a joke. I thought someone was joshing me at first.
Yeah, no.
You know what the payout for that was?
It's going to be less than $200.
It's like $93.
I knew it.
Way less, unless it gets calculated into my next payout and I see like a big jump in it. So maybe I'll let y'all know. I just thought it's obvious Elon's got some favorites when it comes to the Twitter payouts, and I'm not in there. Maybe if I was spending all my time dogging book talk readers, but
But is there
that gets tiresome fast, and then you end up saying the same thing over and over again if you're just like talking about how crappy one thing is.
Yeah, I'm not getting pigeonholed in that. I do like to talk about the stuff that I like to talk about. I just wish Bright was one of those things that I could like to talk about. The big problem with Bright was more that Will Smith's inclusion was immersion breaking. This is a problem he's had in some movies. When he tries to go in for a serious role, like he can nail it 100%. I mean, Pursuit of Happiness, my God, Muhammad Ali, wonderful. But when he gets in something and you can tell he's not putting in 100%, you get that, oh, hell no kind of attitude through the entire thing. And that's what was here. It's like, he very obviously was phoning a lot of it in.
He's charismatic enough to kind of pull it off anyway.
Yeah. Like
but
Will Smith's bare minimum.
You can tell when he's not giving it his all, really.
Oh, yeah. We got Wild Wild West Will Smith for this.
Yeah. I still haven't seen that film. I own it. I have not watched it yet.
I don't.
It's almost so good it's bad, but most of the time it's just bad.
Most of the time, yeah. Like there are moments that are like that, but it's not. It's no Big Trouble Little Tokyo that is so atrociously bad that it's hilarious.
I got a quick question for you about the Twitter, because that's a lot of impressions, and even though they don't pay you very much for that, did you see any translation to people like reaching out to you and be like, hey, I have this show, or I got your book, did you see a spike in sales? Because even if you're not getting paid by them, that doesn't mean
I got over like 500. Sweet. I got over like 500 new followers.
Nice.
I got over 100 new subscribers on my YouTube channel, and I sold like over 30 books. So that was pretty good. Good. In one weekend. That's pretty big for me. You know, it sales go up and down, but
go in phases. Yeah, for sure.
That's good to hear. I was hoping it would translate to that for you. So that's cool. That at least Twitter's not going to pay you. There's still something good.
The only thing that's a little negative about it is it's starting to occur to me that this might be something that follows me till later. But I'm going to stand by what I said, and I'll be like, look, I was poking fun. There was no reason for y'all to take that shit so seriously. Mm-hmm. And also, everybody, though, it was the same 2 to 3 comments. Thousands upon thousands of people all said the exact same fucking thing. We expect you're in a Target, not a bookstore. All these so-called readers did not apply any reading comprehension to the actual post where I said explicitly at the very top, I just happened to be in Target. And
I wasn't here looking for this specifically.
I did not say I'm going into Target and God damn it, I need some male fiction in here. You fucking morons.
How many people accused you of being maidenless?
Oh, yeah. There was plenty of that.
I'm sure there was.
But they were never... A lot of people... The only thing that really bummed me a little bit was that they took my book as an attack vector. So I got review bombed on Goodreads, which I'm fortunate it's Goodreads because Goodreads is garbage. And it's only that side of the aisle that cares about the Goodreads reviews. The reviews on Amazon stayed the same. But now my 5-star and 1-star level is lopsided. And it's just a bunch of 1 stars and people attacking me.
People who never read your book, obviously. Yeah.
Oh, very obviously. Yeah. That was a little eye rolling, but I'm not going to worry about that all that much. And in time, people will just end up forgetting, because that's the thing about having a hit tweet like that. Even if it's vitriolic, within 3 days, they forget you exist. Right.
Yeah.
Unless I'm doing those kind of tweets every weekend and everyone is constantly seeing me in their feeds being the center of negative attention, which I don't do intentionally. You know, that tweet was off the cuff.
Oh yeah,
and I even saw some indie authors that have known me for quite some time, you know, gay opping and vague posting about the issue on their timelines as if I can't fucking see them. And I thought about sniping back at them, but look, I'm not gonna. That's not what my
when something goes viral, it's hard. You kind of gotta take things. You gotta choose to take things a little less.
Yeah, but I never went protected. Yeah. I never muted it. I responded to as many people as I could, but I'm not going to respond to the exact same comment over and over again. Everybody shared the exact same 2 brain cells, and they were both on airplane mode.
Yeah, I could see. I saw some of the interactions. I'm like, yeah, this is about what I expected from this whole thing. It's like, yeah, he's not one of those YouTubers who go like the single guy goes out there looking for like, oh look, there are no man books in Target, fuck them. No, it was like, he was shopping with his wife and he's like, hey, look, garbage.
That was another brain cell they shared. You know, it's usually women that shop at Target. Yes, and my wife, who is a woman, who was born a woman, wanted to go to Target because their holiday stuff is better than at Walmart. So This was just a really bit of an aside. I thought for a moment, like, oh, I bet this might pop off a little bit again. Didn't expect 29 million, but they calculate the engagement with like how much verified accounts engage with you. And I had a lot of sub 100 retards that got in there with room temperature IQs, all saying the exact same thing.
That high, huh?
And I just rolled with it. It's fine.
Well, yeah, no, like even with like some of my videos too, like hell, like my best video on YouTube has like somewhere around 40,000 views, and it has nothing to do with my usual content. But yeah, it was about like being in Hawaii during those fires like 2 or 3 years ago now, and people were just like, because they had so many views, and like you get everything, you get it. People are like, "Oh, we're praying for you. You guys are doing such a good thing," and then like other people's like, how dare you call yourself Kahuna? Like, oh, all right. like a bunch of fucking mouth breathing retards out there. I'm like, wow, okay, we're going this way.
How did you avoid the Jewish space lasers, Kahuna?
I didn't. No. Oh, dude, it's like freaking Joe Biden over there. I was just, my car was almost on fire one time. What? Where am I? Anyway.
How did you spend your $400 or $500?
I have one response to those people.
All you gotta do is put your lips together and blow.
It right at your ass. Yeah. No, that like again, you never apologize, especially when it's like if you're joking and people don't know you're joking. That's the one where that always gets people too. It's always like some kind of like abrasive post. It gets a lot of attention, and then like half the people have no idea that you're just joshing around and it doesn't matter anyway. And then they think
nuances. Twitter is a place where nuance goes to die. There were some people that I thought were cute that tried to attack me via the book. They hit me with this line: "Your book looks like something I would love to read, but I'm not going to now." Like, girl, I've been lied to my entire life. I know a lie when I hear one.
I don't know you can string more than 2 sentences together, let alone read a whole book. That's no, there's a lot of that. Well, like I try to read outside of my genre sometimes too, and that's how I got stuck reading some of the dumb books I had to read recently. I'm like, I need to go read John's book again. I want to read a good story.
I just had Dirt Baggery book reviews finished in my book today. He hasn't given me a review yet, but the funny thing about that post, I did get, of course, from the romance readers and the girly readers and the book talk slop enjoyers, the accusations of being misogynist. They assumed that I would not read books written by women or with female main characters. And the irony is, I was in the middle of reading a book by a female author when that happened, and then put the review up like the weekend after. That was hilarious. The thought of, but they had lost interest by then. Nobody came in and cared. But people that come against me, usually I'm on the other end when I'm hitting the block button, going, "You don't like me. Let me help make sure you don't find me again."
I don't block anyone. I just let them, like, if you're gonna be you, you be you. And I do try not to be so much of an asshole that I get these people coming back. It's not. I don't want to be like an EVS out here, like constantly trying to make enemies and piss people off.
Well, the thing is that over time people will remember and be like, "Oh, this is you popping back up." I don't want that. I really don't. I didn't block everybody, but the people that were trying to use my book as an attack vector, I don't want them popping back up again anymore. So like I said, I help make sure that they can't find me again, so that they don't have to worry about seeing my so offensive tweets or my book that they don't care for.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's like you're saying you read a book by a female author. It's like I don't care whether a man or woman writes a book. I just know what to expect in the genre. It's like if it's a older fantasy book written by a female, probably just fine, probably very tolerable, if not great. Modern fantasy book written by female author, I'm gonna wait till someone recommends me this book, most likely, before I start reading it. It's like the Jade Legacy series, like Jade City, Jade War, Jade Legacy.
Yeah, I've seen it.
maybe Fonda Lee. I don't remember her name for sure, but yeah, it's urban fantasy, and yeah, a couple of things make me uncomfortable. But the book series is great overall. Yeah, just really, really solid. It does not matter. Like, I think the main problem for me is if I'm reading a book by a female author and she doesn't understand the male mentality or perspective, she fills it in with her own idea of what that is, and it's usually so drastically wrong that it makes it very hard to enjoy the story for me.
It ends up they end up writing a power imbalance, right? They write
Always.
what's appealing to them as a power imbalance, and usually that means a strong, dangerous male character, but completely submissive to their whims.
Well,
And
yeah,
they center a lot of
it's a
tropes around that.
fantasy. Women want the masculine man, but they want him under her thumb. Then that's almost always, or a slave to her whim, basically.
Yeah, he can't have any hobbies except for fawning over her, that kind of thing. And that's an okay thing to have. It's just don't get mad when we point out the fallacy of and ridiculousness of that kind of a fantasy. Look, the male power fantasies are just as ridiculous. But we don't, but when we point it out, somehow it's worse and wrong. You're a hypocrite.
Yeah, and like there's different levels too. It's like there's the level of the male fantasy. Oh, I want to I'm gonna read this book because this character becomes strong and becomes a hero and defeats everything, gets the girl at the end. That's basic, and then there's higher level. It's like, oh, it's a harem isekai anime where he has like 40 women fawning over him, and he's also the ultimate Giga Chad at all things. Like that's the dumb end of the male power fantasy kind of spectrum. And so like there's different levels too.
Do you think Will Smith ended up becoming a female, a main male character from a romantasy somehow? Because
a lot of women are really attractive to him, or
right?
It's possible.
But for some reason, the one woman he was attracted to is the one woman that doesn't seem to really want him as badly. Like, what's up with that?
That whole situation's a mess, dude. Do you know how they met?
Yeah. No.
If I'm enlighten me, I think I know.
Yeah, no, she was like on the streets when they met, and like it's implied that she was a working woman, so to say, as well. And
wait,
so
you're talking about Jada Pinkett?
Yeah.
Really? I never heard this.
I'm like 95% positive on this one, but yeah, no, it was yeah, no, and she like it's too bad. She's a good voice actress too. She's done some voice work and she's pretty good.
She was pretty good in the
That's what you typed in, Justin.
Yeah, I figured that'll give my answer.
Where'd AC go? Is he all right?
I think he has some family things going on. I think maybe the kid got hurt or something. I heard something in the background. He didn't. He usually says what's going on, but he didn't. So it's fine. It's just yeah, totally get it.
I get it. They're really rambunctious at that age, and like you don't know what's worse, hearing something loud crash or hearing absolute quiet.
Nothing. Pure silence.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Why don't I hear anything? Something's not right.
I have two boys. They are never quiet for a long period of time. It's a dangerous lack of sound to hear.
Yes, for sure. So was there anything about this movie that you guys thought was enjoyable, or did you hate it top to bottom and sideways?
I don't hate it top to bottom. I think it ran into a lot of problems that a lot of urban fantasies run into. And that is that it's like, we're going to have this situation in our world, but we're going to throw in fantasy elements without taking into account how the world would be completely different with those fantasy elements in there. And people try to implement that, but I don't think they're successful most of the time, which is why the most successful urban fantasy stories are where the magic is hidden within the world and people don't know about it. That's why more successful, I think.
Like that was an element in Harry Potter that was never really touched on. It's okay you have to have the suspension of disbelief when you read Harry Potter. You've got the Muggle world, and then you've got the magical world, and then
they touch, but they don't see each other very much.
Yes, there's that, and they're so separated that Ron's dad is fascinated by Muggle stuff and can't figure out what a lot of Muggle junk is for. It's like, this would be really easy to kind of figure out. Ron's not that hard, but a little bit of culture clash. And she never really touched too hard on the fact that these two worlds coexist on the same place. Because when you do start thinking about it, a lot of shit really starts to fall apart. But I'm okay with taking a story at face value and not looking at it's like, okay, obviously the fact that the Muggles and the wizards do not interact much but exist in the same world is not the plot that she wants to explore.
Yeah,
but
this
there's
is
a
a
lot
story
of
about a
fans
boy and a hero's journey in school, and
yeah, and that's all well and good. And like I accepted the story for what it was. I was not one of these fans who were like, well, what's the American version of Hogwarts? What are the Americans like? Do they just cast guns?
They just have guns.
Yeah,
Actually, I would read that book.
It's
Latin for fire.
It was obvious she didn't want to cover that, so I didn't, care to go that way. But fans, they overthink things, especially nerds, and they try and make things make sense. And oh, there's my editor, Daniel P. Riley.
Yeah, I love Daniel. He's like, I'm gonna pop in. I'm gonna be drunk. I'm gonna say something.
Outlandish. I'm gonna insult one of my customers and about his manuscript. I know he's joking.
Now, so what other urban fantasies are there in terms of TV film other than Harry Potter that are worth seeing? Because Bright, it's got its problems, but Harry Potter aside, which is a standout, I really enjoyed those films. What else is there? There's really not many.
Percy Jackson. There's
a lot of urban fantasies.
Oh, worth seeing? I don't know.
Yeah,
a lot of it's not worth seeing. That's the problem.
That's what I'm saying. So on that front, I'm like, I liked Bright in the fact that it was trying. And there's nobody else trying. And the bar is really low. And I admit there's problems, but just the fact that they're like, let's just give it a shot. I'm like, cool. I'd rather have people giving it a shot and failing than not trying at all. And I know that it depends how bad you miss, but I don't know. There's aspects of this movie that I didn't totally hate. I like the character Jacoby. He was
Jacoby was fine. He's
a
fun.
Yeah.
He's fun. He's friendly.
I mean, I didn't care for his look, but he was definitely getting the the kind of orc vibe down. The idea of orcs in the modern world, would be an interesting thing to touch on. I know there's probably other books that have kind of done that.
I'm sure books.
His burn victim status, notwithstanding, it was still an interesting, integration. And then they have scenes where like Will Smith is standing on his porch and he's swatting at fairies, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay,
using slurs too.
Are the fairies sentient creatures? Are they the equivalent of insects?
It's kind of implied he's both somehow.
I like to think they're self-aware and shit. Yeah.
I would have assumed if they were sentient, they wouldn't be buzzing around your fucking porch. Like they would have like Rodentopia in that Zootopia movie, where little rodent town, where they had their own place that they could, kind of segrange to. And
you're right.
Why are they hanging around Will Smith's porch?
Fairy labs don't matter.
they were hanging around the hummingbird feeder, so I think that implies that they like sugar, which is in line with fairy lore, I'm pretty sure. So I mean, they could just be like crack fiends for sugar, right? They could be self-aware creatures that they can't resist themselves with them hummingbird feeders or something. They didn't really touch into it. I think we should assume that they're probably just bugs or something, just like rodents.
Daniel is going after it in the comments.
Bro is bored.
I've been poking the bear a little bit too, but yeah. He's like, yes, tough love is my jam. And I say that's what the police report said.
It wasn't just fantasy they integrated in the film. There was a lot of fairy tale elements. And fantasy and fairy tales, while both being fantastical, don't necessarily integrate quite as well. You got to make some concessions one way or the other.
Yeah, you gotta be pretty creative with it. It's harder in a movie.
Because you were muted. Your lips were moving, but you say anything.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
your audio was getting funky for a second there. Like, there are good urban fantasy stories, but I can
see you're not muted on the screen, douchebag.
Can you hear me?
Oh, Oh, I'm sorry. It was my earbud. Sorry.
100% it was.
That's good.
At first, I'm like,
I
oh, he's
thought
just
Dr.
joking.
Hoon was
And
messing with me.
then you
No.
said it again. I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
he can't hear me.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Oh, that's
Twilight.
douchebag.
Twilight is urban fantasy, right? Did you guys say
Yeah.
Twilight?
It is. Vampire kind of always.
It's an
is
easy
that,
win,
though,
yeah.
isn't it?
Easy.
Those books, that story's not bad until the like third or fourth book. It's fine.
There's
like, in
only
terms of
3
chick-
books.
Oh, Underworld.
Well, the fourth
Yes.
Underworld
Underworld.
movie.
Yes.
Oh man, I wish
Oh.
those movies were better than they were. They're fine, but I wanted them
Vampire-
to be like all
You
time.
shut your whore mouth. Justin.
Vampires-
No,
Vampires and
correct. It's
werewolves
fine.
and vampires and werewolves and such, like the Van Helsing lore, we'll say, is like the probably the most married to urban fantasy that it
Yeah,
gets.
almost all urban fantasy is
Yeah.
going to be something like vampire or werewolf or both related, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Like Blade, another one technically
Technically, yeah.
superhero, but like it's urban fantasy.
Yeah.
Magic.
You know what else is an urban fantasy that is well loved by everyone on
having
this
a,
channel?
having a family in the city and being able to afford it.
Highlander.
Highland, perfect,
Oh, yeah,
perfect
Highlander.
example. Perfect
Yes.
example.
Highlander.
Oh, that's great. Yep.
There
Great
can be
example.
only one.
Yeah. Someone
No,
say,
that was,
What
someone
about
say
Big
what?
Trouble in Little China? That's urban fantasy, right?
yeah. No, it works.
Yeah,
it works.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yep, I agree. Urban fan, very good at urban
That was a
fan.
good one. Good flick.
But as far as like
Good
hard
tag for it.
fantasy in an urban setting, like that is a little tougher.
Hey.
What's that kids movie that's like Patience is a Virtue? Page Master? Is that what I'm thinking about?
Oh,
Never
man,
Ending
I haven't
Story?
seen that in
Never
forever.
ending story.
Like there's Page Master. I know that's a movie. There's another one though where like the kid gets taught by all these I don't know, like animal creatures or something.
Warriors of Virtue.
Yes. Oh,
I have
Warriors
no
of
idea,
Virtue.
bro.
These are all urban fantasy. John, you like that movie? You get that with your
Man,
kid?
it's been a long time. So I think that I might have been a little old for when the time it came out. Like I love the concept.
Yeah.
There was a lot of the execution that kind of made me feel I'm thinking like this is kind of like a high budget fantasy Power Rangers. So
Yeah, a little bit.
it didn't really connect with. I'm due for a rewatch because
I am too.
I don't think I gave that movie a fair chance when it came out. Because I think I was about 15 or 16. I was kind of moving
I'm
past
too
that
mature
phase.
for this.
Yeah. I was kind of in the hey, look, when the Attitude Era in wrestling hit, okay, my
Yeah.
attitude
Oh, dude.
did kind of hit. I'm not gonna lie.
It does
A
not
lot of-
matter what you think. Sorry, go ahead.
A lot of opinions that I had, like I was like a lot of teens in the 90s, right? Like, oh man, old school heroism is kind of hokey. The whole black and white binary, good versus evil, like that's been done. I watched that in He-Man and Transformers, you know. And then you
I
have
want
more
to
complex stories coming
not
in.
go to church every Sunday and date a goth girl. Is that so much to ask?
Right. This Stone Cold guy coming in cussing and giving people the finger, and The Rock calling people and hilarious insults. That was all funny to me. You know, I've kind of come back away from the 90s edge. I wish more grown adults would, because there's some people who have not left the 90s
Yeah.
and think that the whole 90s edgelord grimdark shit is still flying. Like, man, we've stayed in that spot mentally way too long. We kind of need to go back.
People who think that Neil Gaiman's Sandman is like a masterpiece when it's fine.
Yeah.
I can't read Neil Gaiman.
I was just talking to these
Yeah.
guys. You know, this is actually one of our subjects, I think, tonight is like the different eras of fantasy.
Yeah.
I was just
different
talking
eras.
to these guys before the show. So it's funny that you bring that up, the 90s grimdark, because my example for 90s fantasy, can you guess? It was George R.R. Martin, Grimdark Martin himself. So
Yeah.
and
He
like
started in the 90s. I saw Game of Thrones on the fantasy shelf when I was used to go book shopping at Walden Books.
Well, yeah, he started around the same time as Harry Potter, so
93?
yeah, it was around at the same time.
Yeah.
And you know who was huge at the exact same, got big about the same time. Fantasy did really kind of change in that late 90s, early 2000s era, and two particular authors exemplified that change. Two that I know very well. One was Sarah Douglas, because she is a very dark fantasy writer. Believe me.
Yeah,
All these romantic girls who like their quote unquote dark tropes, their hair would burst into flames if they read some of Sarah Douglas's work.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Terry Goodkind. Terry married a lot of classical pulp-like elements and fantasy elements, which is weird because he hated the genre, with more grim and gritty, realistic stuff and stuff that, like, there was a lot of sex and violence that was in there, and he tried to justify all of it.
Yeah, there was. Well, yeah, it's like once something becomes very, very popular, it'll inspire. It's like, especially more modern times, it inspires its whole thing. Like, there were so many Harry Potter, like, people who wanted to emulate Harry Potter after that came out, started gaining steam and getting super popular. And obviously, it's such a singular thing that no one really did a good job kind of copying that moving forward. At least no one I'm aware of.
The mainstream publishers don't help with that either, because they see somebody like Germ.
They chase trends.
Yes. And they're like, we need to fill the fucking market on George R.R. Martin books. And they literally purposely do it until it overflows and they start becoming duds. And then they stop signing those authors.
Right when maybe some of the good imitators start getting good. It's like, all right, we're done.
Yeah. So, Yep. But yeah, there's other authors like who was it? The dude
Tolkien. Tolkien, obviously, he started, like, there's so many Tolkien like fantasy stories and authors that came out after that. Obviously, Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time was similar at first to that, and then he moved on to his own thing.
I would link Lovecraft in there, because who else would be the king of urban fantasy, ladies and gentlemen? I would present to you H.P. Lovecraft. I would submit that to the court. Some other people might pull one up on me with, like, Frankenstein and Dracula and even like Nosferatu, right? But still,
they're all old, and they all, like, that style of storytelling lives culturally through all the stories we enjoy now. Like Robert E. Howard, like I love Michael Moorcock, and he's like 1950s, 1960s, like right around it, or just after Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. But you wouldn't have Michael Moorcock without someone like Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard, and I enjoy both of those quite a bit.
Same with George Martin and Tolkien and Lovecraft and Howard and Moorcock, especially Moorcock. You can see it in Martin's characters, so he must have read a lot of Moorcock, or at least internalized it in some way.
Just say Moorcock a couple more times.
More Michael Cock.
Whoa. Anyway, yeah, no, it's interesting looking at different eras of fantasy, and it seems like a lot of it was either a specific aesthetic or a specific person in their book that inspired, like, when I think of eras of fantasy, I think of, like, the Tolkienite era, which lasted a long time. Well, like, when did people kind of start moving more away from that? Maybe the late 80s in fantasy novels?
The pulp era definitely had a lot of, like, genre crossovers, right? More sword and planet.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Science fiction and fantasy were just kind of inseparable. And it was a bookstore decision over time to say, hey, put the hard sci-fi, put the technology stuff over here and the magic shit over here. That kind of split happened. To me, most genre fiction is fantasy in and of itself. That's why it all blends together so well. If you start doing genre mashups, science fiction, fantasy, romance, Western, horror, it's all fantasy of a sort. That's why it's a great mashup. And, not my favorite author, but when he works very well, it works. Stephen King.
Yeah,
his Dark Tower is a mashup of so many different kinds of elements.
It felt, reading the Gunslinger, it felt fresh, because there's nothing in fantasy that was anything really like it. It was so different.
An epic fantasy quest that stars a gunslinger going across a multiverse of worlds that are dying off to, try and keep a dark entity from destroying all of creation, and collecting a party of people. You got a drug addict from New Jersey, and then a legless black girl from the civil rights era, and a 10-year-old kid, and a creature named Oi.
Wasn't she super racist too, or am I misremembering?
She had like 3 split personalities.
Oh, okay, that's right.
One of them was like One of them was basically a racist caricature. Like I
Yeah.
think it was just his excuse to be able to write the N-word and get away with it.
I can do whatever I want.
I kind of can, you know. I mean, a guy makes more money than any author alive, so you know he can get away with that kind of stuff. But you know that was a very creative. And look, that series ended up being the best and the worst of King's writing. But ultimately, I think it's a series that's, you know, whether you love it or you hate it, it wound up being something that, from a creative standpoint, a writing standpoint, is a genuine, you know, kind of a masterpiece.
A
It's
good
his magnum
inspiration, yeah.
opus. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's undeniable that, and I got a lot of people are like, oh, you like Stephen King. You know, they'll look at certain things.
I
And look,
like some of his books. Is that hard? Like he's written what, like an average of 3 books a year. So yeah, they're not all winners. Some of them are. It's not that hard to believe. It's
yeah,
like
and he's got his
Cujo
own
is one of my
tropes by
favorites.
now,
I
but
love that book. It's a great book.
he definitely wrote better when he was absolutely blitzed on
Blasted.
coke and pills and
Yeah.
and booze. But look, you know, a guy's made his mark on the world, and he does have some books that are legitimately literary masterpieces. He does end up writing shit that I don't care for, but he's a horror writer, so you're going to get that kind of stuff. And
People forget he also does drama really well. Like Green Mile, Stand By Me, all whole bunch of these different stories that they got turned into movies, and like everyone forgets that they were Stephen King stories because they think of him as a horror author first.
the best Stephen King stories are the ones that Frank Darabont ends up directing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Shawshank. Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, no, that lines up.
Shawshank, Green Mile, The Mist.
Yep.
The Mist is really good.
It's a good concept too. Like anybody could, like I feel like that could become a timeless concept if people wanted it to be, like an isekai, but like a reverse isekai, where like it's just a portal opening up, right? And the mist is the environment of the other side coming through, right? Am I mistaken?
The Mist was an ode to Lovecraft.
Right.
You can say that, right? That's
yes,
what it
we
was.
can say that. Yeah. That makes sense.
Now the book and the movie are a little different, specifically the ending.
Oh, I hate that ending. Made me so mad.
Oh, in the
That's
movie,
that's the one where they're stuck in the grocery store, right?
yeah,
Yep.
And like some of the decisions they make, I'm just like, this is crazy. And if the book's like that, I guess it is what it is. But in the movie, there's some decisions where it's just like, why did that guy like turn on?
Because people are stupid, and that's the reason. Always.
I don't know.
If there's one thing that King does really well that I don't see a lot of people point out, it's he writes, especially in a lot of his horror, he writes very well how people react when their sense of normalcy is gone.
Yeah.
And it's not
100%.
just panic, Daniel. It's also, I understand how this world works. All of a sudden, things are not working the way they're supposed to. The logic of the world that I understand is now not working. And
it's a whole
the cope that
shift.
people come through, as hackney-eyed as his constant, oh, look at the crazed religious character is, the Mist was probably a good representation of these, characters clinging to something in order to try and make sense of and survive in this, changing dynamic. And you will see, look, I walked through a flood at one point, like normalcy went out the window when I had to abandon my car, and I had to, I can only take 3 things with me walking through this flood: my keys in case I could get back to my car, my phone so that I could call for help, and my ID in case I drowned and they had to ID my body. And, things were just, I knew what I had to do, but like, it was still just like, felt like this crazy topsy-turvy situation I was in. Because I don't have to walk through a flood, every day, maybe not ever again in my life. So he does do that very well when people try to cling to their sense of reality, when their sense of reality, the reality around them starts to break down in ways they can't comprehend.
I think he also does well in speaking to the truth of internal human struggle. Well,
at times, yes.
Not every time, but like there are moments where like I'm reading a book, I'm like, this is such a specific headspace to be in for this very specific set of emotions and understandings and situation, but it's right, it's true. at least in
Well,
this moment.
the guy had his fair share of like mental anguish. That
Based.
yeah, exactly. Dude doesn't even remember writing Kojak or whatever.
Kojak.
Kojak.
Everybody know that that friendly neighborhood dog, Kojak.
Kojak,
no.
yeah.
No, what was it? It was Bill Armstrong. He asked a question earlier about urban fantasy. Yeah. At what point does urban fantasy turn into classic fantasy? Especially since, if I'm not mistaken, urban fantasy denotes taking place in the time the work was written. No. Urban fantasy is another way of saying low fantasy. It is our world with magic things in it. High fantasy is fantasy with its own world, its own culture, its own set of rules. And so urban fantasy is just another way of saying that. And so like I said, a lot of successful urban or low fantasy stories will take them out of their normal environment and put like the magic will be separate from mostly separate from reality. At least that's my opinion.
There are times I would consider the Dark Tower series to be urban fantasy because so much of it is set in the real world.
It is, yeah, it does both. And that's
set in a world that is very much the end of ours, depending on where they're at.
Yeah, it's very unclear. It's a very weird, first time I read Gunslinger, I think I got to the end, I'm like, I feel like I just took an acid trip. What was that?
He probably did.
I felt like I did, and I've never done it.
Did. So we touched on how a lot of like vampire and werewolf stories tend to just default to urban fantasy or whatever, but another genre is like horror. You know, you got horror. A lot of horror stories.
I think it's inherently horror. If you have those things in the story and it's the focus, it's inherently a little horror. It has to be, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, unless you're going full comedy or Disney or whatever with the fantastical elements.
Dead and loving it.
Yeah,
Leslie Nielsen.
yeah.
Watch that last Halloween. What a forgotten gem.
I know. Not enough people have seen that movie, or even Young Frankenstein is also. Young Frankenstein is great too. I mean, a lot of people have not seen that movie.
Dancing on the Ritz.
Well, actually, no. Like thinking about it, almost every werewolf vampire story is like modern, but not all of them. There are some that are kind of older, and I think it's harder because like if it's a vampire or werewolf story, it's going to be horror. You're trying to scare the audience, and the further away in time it is from you, the less you relate to the characters, the less scared you feel. That's why horror characters are always like just run of the mill normal people most of the time, and so that's kind of a tricky thing to navigate.
I disagree. Horror characters are very much sub-Neanderthals of some kind because, look, almost every horror flick you ever watch, like 99% of them could be solved if somebody just had a gun on them.
Yeah, we actually talked about this with the Leprechaun episode. You ever see the Leprechaun movie with Jennifer Aniston and
I might have let that one go by. I was not a big hokey horror movie fan.
Okay,
you know,
would not enjoy
the lore is fun. It's goofy. It's fun.
But there's a kid in this horror movie, and he's like, "Yeah, I have a shotgun. I have this like python back there. I think that python would probably take care of that thing."
Yeah.
This kid is based, dude.
Yeah, they got like somebody from the NRA to come in and feed this kid his lines.
Yeah, he's breaking down like exact caliber and like powder ratio.
Wait. Leprechaun 2, was that the one with the kid, that famous clip of him going, "Oh my god"?
Maybe. And there's Leprechaun.
That was Troll 2. That was Troll 2.
Oh, yeah, Troll's good.
Yeah.
Early internet memes, kids.
The Leprechaun IP became just him in ridiculous situations. So there's like Leprechaun in the Hood.
In the Hood,
yeah.
I mean, color me shocked. There's like what 13 Puppet Master movies.
Oh, there's that. Well, isn't John? That's what they do with all horror. What they do is they make one that's low budget and is good. It's underground and becomes super popular, and they make 50 of them.
50
then you milk it
Masters
for millions. Yeah,
I stuck with that Saw franchise for a while. I'm not gonna lie.
that's
I
why.
never.
That's why.
I can't stick to something I never liked.
Uh,
I mean, the first one was fine, but it was never more than that. And then they made 40 of them.
well, you can
My
just
favorite part.
Saw in space.
My favorite part of that was when they had a flashback and they did not even try to age down the actor. They just had this
No.
70-year-old man
They
with a
did not
backwards baseball cap and Jinko jeans. Like,
Yo.
what are you doing, dudes?
Oh.
the Jinko jeans, dude. Oh my god.
What do you do? How do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah.
Game.
Yeah.
Well, hey, fellow kids.
Yeah.
Walking. It's
Yeah.
like, and then but I guess all those sequels coming out also gave us Freddy versus Jason, which
Yeah.
is unremittedly hilarious. It is a very
Yeah.
funny movie.
And
That
something
movie
about
was better than it had any right to be.
It should not
Agreed.
have been as funny as it was.
and something about the there's also Jason X where it was Jason in space.
Oh my
So they got to do all the fun stuff like he interacts with holograms and there's 0G and stuff like that. So that's fun. So that's the thing is it slowly becomes fun just to because everybody it becomes self-aware, right? And then they're like, yeah, we know we're milking Freddy versus Jason, Alien versus Predator. We know what we're doing. We're trying to make money, guys. Just think it's cool for us, please. Don't you think it's cool? And like, I don't know, once it gets past that point or whatever, gets on the other side of that hump of like total rejection for doing that, then you can just start doing fun things like Freddy versus Jason, for example. I think I'm not advocating for milking franchises into the ground, but some of them are kind of fun.
I want powder out of them nips before it's over.
Yeah.
Justin's just like, why do you
If
have
you
to
want
say
to,
it that
if you
way?
want to be angry, go look up how close we came to getting Jason versus Freddy versus Ash.
Oh,
Oh,
That could've been
bro.
cool.
dude, they might as well.
We
See, that's
were-
what I'm
it
talking.
was that close to
I didn't
happening
think it was
and it
that
fell
close.
through.
That's so
Dude.
disappointing.
I know.
Oh,
And
it's
this
a
is
comic
Almost
series
as
now?
disappointing as Hellboy 3 never being made.
right.
Yeah. And then it being rebooted twice.
God.
Wasn't it more accurate with the reboot, the most recent one? and
Yeah,
then
but it
got
wasn't better.
rejected? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
It
just
hit the
rejected
right
it.
tone, but it didn't. The execution was bad. Like just
Which brings up another point I wanted to talk about with you guys, and that is they keep on remaking things that have no
Yeah.
business being remade. Like they're remaking good things that aren't even that old. Like they're remaking Harry Potter now.
Wait,
And then they're
remaking
remaking
it?
Narnia. They're making new
Well, yeah.
Narnia movies. They have a new like TV show for Harry Potter, and they're like doing all the typical modern things like the race swapping and like Aslan is going to be female. That's what they decided. Snape is black. And it's just like, if you're not going to do it better, then why even bother trying? Like, I figure, everyone went through that phase of like, why are all movies bad now? And then you find YouTube and you're like, oh, that's why all movies are bad. And then you get past it. But this has been like a decade of this. What is it ever going to stop? It seems like they just don't want to stop. They just want to keep continuing this.
not until the wells run completely dry and Hollywood is contracted as much as possible. Right at this point, their only thing they know that makes money is trying to bring back anything familiar and taking very little chances.
Name recognition. That's it.
That pretty much, they're just not going to. I mean, what didn't they announced today? There's a new Predator movie coming out. This one's animated with the Spider-Verse style, so maybe it will like not suck as much. But
Right.
I kind of feel like I've seen as much Alien and Predator slop in my life as I could possibly want to see.
I know.
Andrew Campbell's correct down there.
Between Hollywood people down there and going down to the border, just a little further south of there, I've seen lots of aliens. I've seen lots of predators. They're all over.
Have you heard the meme where it's like you get okay, you know what I'm talking about, the meme, the Alien versus Predator meme with concerning the border. Anyway, I know what you're saying. It would have to be really good, but that animation style does entice me a little bit.
I like that animation style. I liked the Into the Spider-Verse movie. I like the first one. I had the second one just didn't jive with me for some reason.
The story, and believe me, if we want to talk about that movie, have me and my son on stream because we have feelings about that movie. Because we love that first movie, and that second movie just, I can't get into it. I'll gotta stop. Guys, I hate to say this, I do have to get going because I got to get ready for work. But thank you for having me on the Iron Seas. And,
absolutely,
I'd love to come back anytime. I just sorry everything happened with the schedule that
you're good,
I was only able to be here an hour.
We spent an hour struggling with technology before you got here. Don't worry. Plus, Justin got to see Sister Leveling, so win's a win.
Yeah.
He loved it.
Actually, I don't know if I can forgive him now.
He loved it.
Everybody in the chat, thank you for showing up, guys. I'm gonna catch y'all later. All right.
All right, have a good night.
We didn't even talk about your new book. We'll have to do it again.
I don't have anything to show off, man. I've
true,
talked about it
true.
enough. I'm officially at It's Time to Shit or Get Off the Pot. I'm writing this up so that my editor down there in the chat can go ahead and get this thing done. I think he'll be very pleasantly surprised with this book in comparison to the last one. I'm working as fast as I can. In fact, when I get to work and I get a little settled in, I'm gonna fire up Google Docs. I'm gonna start hitting the keys a little bit. So,
hell yeah.
But I got to get going, guys. Good to talk to y'all.
All right,
see y'all later.
Yep.
Have a good night at work, man. God bless. Boom.
Yeah.
He's still here.
What's going on with that? Risk aversion, familiarity, like you guys said, money, and then the other piece is to destroy things. At this point, whenever you see
it's deconstruction.
There's no other right. There's no other logical way to interpret what is being done other than they are trying to, like you said, deconstruct and destroy these things. And I mean, I think they want to replace the original with the new, so that the generation coming up sees the new one, doesn't care about the old one because it's old, and they'll peel off a fraction of them, and that's all they need to get the things going in the direction they want it to go.
See, the only company who has an excuse to do this would be Disney, because they have all those animated ones, right? Like, part of me, okay, did you hear about Tangled getting basically shut? Yeah, it's shut down now because of the Snow White movie. Now, how sad is that? Because these are all easy bullseyes. All these animated movies are easy bullseyes.
They should be.
Actors that would be in that movie have aged out. They're too old. If they had done a live action Tangled before and they actually brought in Zachary Levi and Mandy Moore, that'd be cool. But he's getting a little bit older. And
he's not.
At the same time,
not young anymore.
I don't want somebody pretending to be those characters. I'm used to the voices. I know that the movie is not that old. I don't know. I feel like it's right on that cusp. If it was like 10 years from now, I could see it a little bit better. But
the only thing I'd say to that,
Pixar movie, so I'm like,
oh, sick! I see.
Right, don't do it.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say to that is, imagine how far the movies could go if they actually cared about making the characters look like the old actors, or the old characters make them sound like them. Like, there's there's billions of people on the planet, and
AC, I might have to push back a tiny bit.
If they actually cared about that,
if they cared, it sounds like an easy win. But then you're in a situation. Yeah. You're making a live action of a very popular kids animated film. Okay, you have two choices. One, you do what Maleficent did, change the story or show it from a new perspective, and then it's different but probably bad. Two, you do it as close to the original as possible. But at that point, is it worth it?
That's what you would
just
do.
Watch the other film,
and you'd have to make it worth it. And they get too hung up on it. Sometimes people just want to see the same movie in a different context, right? It doesn't have to be frame for frame. You can add a little. Why not? It makes sense in live action. But yeah, like for Lion King, for example, I think that's what people were expecting. Was
that movie should not have, like, of all of them, that one had no reason to be made. There was no, because it's also just animated.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. There you go.
Just a different animation for the same.
Yep.
So
Beauty and the Beast makes sense. Lion King, what are you doing?
Oh, the casting is so bad in that.
Yeah.
A live action Finding Nemo where they have real fish.
That'd be
real fish.
It's the same idea. It's the same idea.
It's just as stupid. It's just as stupid.
It's a shame too, because these stories could translate well to the screen if you actually had people making them that cared about making it good and not just making it because they're creatively bankrupt and they're
money
for whatever else. They're not even making money off of them though. Like, I mean, a couple of them did really well, but a lot of them, they're just kind of, they just sort of happened. They just came and went. Like, I think Aladdin made a ton of money. Was
It
the other
was
one?
not it was one of the not good ones though. Aladdin.
But it did make a lot of money.
It
Like
did
we didn't
make
enjoy
money.
it, but it did find an audience. But
Beauty
what
and
was
the
the
Beast
other?
made a
I think
ton
Beauty
of
and the
money
Beast did
too.
well. I heard
Yeah.
Well, how about-
Cinderella is actually pretty good though. I haven't seen. That's the one I.
It was
haven't
one of
seen,
the
and I heard it's
first ones
actually-
they did, and that's
So-
why.
I heard it's
So you
decent.
guys do agree then that like Disney's probably the only one that has like an excuse to actually be like trying to mine those old things, because it does make sense to transfer it over in some cases, like Beauty and the Beast. You just said Mulan would be dope if it was 100% accurate. I would say only maybe with Mulan you just clean up some of the historical inaccuracies, make it like drill it even more like in that like the corrections that you should have did in the first round, but like don't change it per se, like in the ways that they did. But like, what are some other ones that you guys think would be like worth it, or like they should?
All of the
like
ones
video
that
games, right?
One oh, like I thought we were talking about Disney still.
Or
Video
just in
games,
general, like
I
live
li-
action.
live action. I don't
Like,
know.
isn't that what we're talking about? Like the adaptation, like or like digging up old IPs, or what was it again? What was the topic again?
If we're we're kind of, it's a transforming conversation.
We're talking about
that's fine.
remaking things. I'm always remaking.
Yeah,
whatever.
remaking things.
I mean,
yeah,
I would love to see a Metal Gear Solid done
Right.
correctly. That'd be awesome. Yeah, the giant robots fighting each other, especially Metal Gear Solid. If to do them all and to get to Metal Gear 4, like
What
have,
if
like,
what if they did
basically
an
a time to
anime?
fight
What
with
if
the
they did
robots
like
would
an
be sick.
animated, like a cool animated
like all that
style?
They do that with a lot of things. Like they did it with Witcher, they did it with Devil May Cry, they did it with Castlevania. I don't know.
Those are-
There's live action.
Witcher could have been
something
good.
Special about something being real and actually. There's not to knock on that. I appreciate the art and all that sort of thing. But if I have the choice between cartoon, anime, or live action, I am always choosing live
Well,
action.
I just think it's hard. Some things don't translate to live action very well, or
That's okay.
or you can, but then they don't look good. Like it,
Yeah.
or to make it work in live action, you have to so fundamentally change what the thing is that it doesn't
Yeah.
work very well.
in certain ways, kind
I'd
of.
have to see a specific example to be like, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. But I feel like a lot of, video game stuff would be fine, and even if it's a little bit zany, or I think of even if it's over the top, like
Halo
Kung Fu
should have
Hustle.
had a good adaptation by now.
There's no excuse for Halo. It's an easy.
There's
it's
no
an easy
excuse
win.
for Halo.
It's an easy win. It's even easier than Star Wars, right? Like, sure, you have
yeah.
those like their own version of a lightsaber, right, with the Covenant
Hey,
sword.
buddy.
But at the same time, it is far more like realistic, quote unquote, as far as like the combat, and so you really just Andrew. So you'd really just have it would really just be an excuse for the military to dump a bunch of money on you to promote their fancy new weapons and just make them look like Halo weapons, right? It's an easy win that they dropped the ball on serious.
You know what we missed out on? You remember the movie District 9?
Yeah.
Very
That could've
good
been
film.
good,
I
too.
really
Yeah.
enjoy it. But
Me
do you
too.
know what that was? That was supposed to be a Halo. They were getting ready to make.
I
a
heard
Halo
about
film.
that.
They had
Heard about
things in
that.
production, but then they had a licensing issue, like with the IP, and
Yeah.
so I believe I'm trying to remember the director, but the director who gave that director his start and was funding the project, he's like, you know what? I believe in your direction. I believe in your ability to make a good film. Take the budget, take some of the props we have, and make a movie. And then he made District 9.
Right. And
That movie was
that's why
so
the aliens,
damn good, and they could have done Halo. It pisses me off.
and that's why the aliens look so similar. Those the prawns.
100%, yeah. But yeah, no, that was such a miss. It's such a miss. And like as far as like remaking things too, it's like Harry Potter is so good, the movies, and it's not 20. Like the first one's 20 years old, but the whole thing isn't 20 years old. There's no reason to make it new, in my opinion.
Right.
Same thing with Narnia. The
Yep.
Narnia movies did okay, and then they didn't.
Yeah, I
and
thought those were pretty fun.
yeah, they were. Yeah, the first one is great, and yeah, they never quite reached that height again, but that's fine.
Yeah, the other ones were okay though. If the first one was an 8, the other ones were all like 7-ishes. They were totally fine, enjoyable movies. If I went
Totally
as a kid,
passable.
the thing is, that's us talking about them as grown adults with brains and everything. But if you're a little kid watching those, I would have ate those movies up whenever I was young. Like if you're
Yeah,
like a
that
little
first
8 to
one
10
is like a
year old, they're
perfect Christmas movie. I love it. It's great.
all 4 of them whenever you're that age would be awesome. And the Dawn Treader, I love boats. So that's cool. And Prince Cat, like, there's cool
Dragons
stuff in there
and
for, like, a
gold
kid's
and
movie.
yeah.
And they're pretty safe for children too, which is also incredibly rare. Like fantasy movies for kids. There's
Very
a few,
rare.
but
I gotta
yeah,
watch
rare
Warriors of
anymore.
Virtue now. I gotta rewatch
I've
Warriors of
never
Virtue.
heard of that. Yeah, that sounds
Page
fun.
Master, Page Master, Never Ending Story as well. Oh man, I gotta check all these old ones out. Forgot about them.
I'm kind of with animation overload on this. Let me see. My thing is, if it's more or less the same, talking about like a live action adaptation, then why the hell would I bother with it when the original already exists? And if it's so different, then why? Like that's basically what I said, and I completely agree. It's
Right.
And
It's about the younger audience. They're trying to get the next
Yeah.
generation coming up and replacing the thing you like. That's all. That's the only reason. That's the only thing that makes sense about any of it. Beyond they think it's going to make money or whatever, and maybe it does. But I think the bigger thing is they just want to replace the originals.
So pandering aside, I like to lean a little bit more towards just like adapting, like basically, for example, the video games are a great example because some of them are have such good stories that everybody wants to see a movie or something out of it, and they want to see like what they loved playing. You know, like Dead Space would be a great movie or a great series, even,
or at least like if just show that you care about what the audience loved about the
Mass
like.
Effect.
Look at Sonic. It's not the video games, but there's so much heart and fun and love poured into it.
It's Sonic still.
Yeah, it's still Sonic. People love it. Like I never played it, and I love those movies.
I will say though, Sonic does ride the line a little.
A little.
Yeah.
We do have to some week. We got to have movie adaptations, and we can go cringe and we can go good. So we could have Sonic, we could have Street Fighter, we can get Mortal Kombat in there because there are like even the bad ones are still. It is.
We could do
like
a tier, we could do a
good.
cringy like YouTube tier list video.
Sure, something like that would be fun too. Yeah. I'd be all over it, man. I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen a lot of them.
I've seen too many. Remember Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
Or Hitman.
Hitman, oh my
same
god.
thing with Hitman. Wasn't terrible. Timothy Oliphant was cool to watch. The biggest problem with the Assassin's Creed film was that just like the games, the biggest problem with the games is spent way too much time in modern day. And I just like go back in time. Just show me that time period without any of the future crap, and it would be an interesting story.
The short film they attached
problem.
to either Assassin's Creed 2 or 3 was better. Like that 10-minute short film was better than the entire Assassin's Creed film.
That's true, and it's because it was showing you Assassin's Creed. Like what people want to see.
That's it.
The movie, you don't actually get into the coolest part of it when it was in Spain or wherever it was until 2/3 of the way through the movie, and they're only there for 20 minutes, and there's just a couple action sequences, and it's basically over. It's like I don't care about why he's in this lab, and I don't care about the science. Like it's neat, but make that like 1/5 of the story.
It's an excuse.
It's going to be there.
Yeah,
I've said
excuse.
this from the beginning. I would have loved that series a lot more if it was just we start in this time period and we just go through time chasing the apples, and we don't, and eventually we get to modern day, and you make it a totally standalone modern day game.
That's what it was set up as.
Taking out my immersion, and I got to read an email and walk around some facility and go on a computer. It's like just let me be the pirate.
It was set up as that.
Let me be the pirate. Damn it.
Well, like hear me out here too. Like for Assassin's Creed, don't even make it about like the sci-fi element. Like make it about like, oh, I have this mission, like. But then make it about like identifying like this person feels like a person out of time, and then he lives the lives of his ancestors, and it informs his own life. Like there's a story there. Yeah. Don't look at me. There's a good story in there.
There's a bunch of directions you could go. It could be like Memento, where like you
so many directions we could go.
Yes, so many So it could be like Memento, where like he feels compelled to do certain things, and like by the end of the story, he's this crazy assassin, and then you finally have that like out of body experience moment where he's like talking to his future ancestor, who reveals to him, "Hey, I've been kind of puppeting you in these important moments." Right. You could do a lot of things. You could have it be like Evely said, like just really lean into the medieval time period, and just like maybe the rug pull at the end is that he comes out of the Animus. You know what I mean? Like that's the reveal at the end or whatever. Like, and it's just a very small aspect of it.
We should make an Assassin's Creed movie, but we should wrap this up. All right, guys, thank you for the unconventional stream today. It has been on my channel, The Ultimate Uno. We will transfer it over to the Iron Seas channel, just upload it as a video and maybe clean it up a little bit, add some more sexy facial zooms. Let me mew. Too fat, doesn't work. Hey Justin, you should do that all the time. I'm kidding. But yeah, no, this has been fun. It's fun having John on. He's a little flustered. He had some like scheduling stuff that's difficult, and we had technology issues. But it's been a fun conversation. I really appreciate you guys all being here. I appreciate obviously you, Justin, and Andy. I appreciate our conversations, and it's gone well, man. I'm really excited about the future of our show. We have a lot of good content that's going to be coming out here soon, especially Justin's favorite special we've done so far, that we recorded just before the stream today. And yeah, no, it's been a blast. So plug your stuff, AC. What you got going on, man?
You can just hit up the link tree that's been on screen the whole time and sub to all the channels.
Hit that subby wubby. Justin.
Now, same as always, you can find my music. You just go onto any streaming platform that has music on it. Type in Heavily, and you can listen to some rock, some metal, there's some chiptune stuff. There's even some lo-fi in there. Plenty of things in the works. It's just getting to them is a slow process. But soon, I should have a single here in the next handful of months to prime up for the next major release, which I'm hoping. Originally, I was like, I'll have that in spring, and now I'm like, there's no way. Maybe end of summer we'll have it done. So we're doing that. And of course, I am also a co-host over on Iron Age Nights. We filmed another episode recently. The really fun guest that I think you guys are going to really want to check it out because his book looks really, really good, especially if you're into Greek mythology. A little bit of that going on there. And for the record, because we didn't get to actually discuss it because we were discussing other things, I am going to break ranks from the group, and I am going to just lightly float Bright.
I am going to say, crap. AC, you go. I need to think about it.
I give it a D- float.
Hey, there you go. That's about. I'm like D+. I'm giving it a D+. I like that they tried to do it. The movie had a lot of problems. The drama was slow. The tone.
It's original. It's its own thing. Yeah.
It tried to do its own thing. I'll give it that. F it.
Yeah.
Float. It floats.
Hey, holy crap! All right. Yeah.
I gave this a float in Highlander a sink. Something is wrong.
Yeah, something's wrong in the world. Yeah. The scene where the dragon is flying by the moon, I'm like, I'd watch more of that. I wish it wasn't in LA because LA is just hideous to look at on screen. It is.
Yeah.
That's what in my synopsis here, the summary of the movie, I'm like, it is a accurate to reality interpretation of contemporary Los Angeles. The entire movie, all of it. That's LA. It's that action.
Except for the Elven portion. There is no nice area anymore.
It's that movie is that place. Yeah, I'm just like, so I like that it was what it was trying to do, and there's again some pieces in there like that dragon going by the moon. I'm like, that's cool. You know, I almost made it made me think of Rain of Fire, like that.
Yeah, that movie was fun.
I don't care if it doesn't make sense in the history and this and that. I don't care. Like there's a dragon now. This guy's got a machine gun. Like let's go. This is gonna be a good time. So I like
the dragon changes sizes from scene to scene. Absolutely.
Yeah, sign me up. It's a cool dragon. Well, I explain that power. You can't, but I'll still watch it.
It's like a magic.
Yes.
All right, but guys, thank you for joining us on the Iron Seas. We will see you next Tuesday, 6:30 PST. We may switch to Thursdays. It's something we've talked about. Tell us what you think in the comments below.
Woo!